Every seasoned gardener knows that compost can take months, sometimes an entire season, to fully break down. But there's a hidden layer, one most people never add, that can turn a sluggish, cold pile into a living furnace of microbial activity. It's not a secret ingredient from a store or a fancy activator packet. It's a simple, strategic layer that changes the way oxygen, carbon, and moisture flow through the heap. Once this layer is added, decomposition speeds up so dramatically that unfinished compost can turn dark, crumbly, and earthy in a fraction of the usual time. The secret lies beneath the surface of your compost pile. Most gardeners focus on what goes into their compost: kitchen scraps, grass clippings, dry leaves, but very few think about what sits underneath. The hidden layer that supercharges the breakdown process isn't organic waste at all. It's a foundation of rough, chunky carbon materials like sticks, shredded branches, or dry corn stalks laid about 4 inches thick at the very base. This isn't just to help with drainage, as old composting books claim. It's a living air channel. When you create this coarse base layer, you're essentially building an underground ventilation system for your compost. As the pile heats up and moisture moves downward, this layer prevents waterlogging, which is one of the biggest killers of microbial activity. Instead of suffocating, the bacteria and fungi working within the compost get a steady oxygen flow from below, which fuels thermophilic, heat-loving microbes to multiply faster. That's where the speed comes from. Without this airflow, the pile tends to compact and cool too quickly, slowing decomposition by half. Once the base layer is in place, the oxygen that moves upward allows aerobic microbes to dominate early in the process. These are the same microbes responsible for high-heat composting, the kind that breaks down cellulose, neutralizes pathogens, and transforms kitchen waste into humus. With proper aeration from below, internal pile temperatures can rise to 130 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit within days, rather than weeks. So, this heat not only speeds up breakdown, but it also triggers a wave of secondary decomposers like actinomycetes and thermophilic fungi. These organisms really thrive in the porous gaps between the rough base materials, where oxygen levels stay stable, even when the upper layers get dense and wet. When you do it right, this hidden layer basically turns your compost pile into a natural aeration chamber. No turning, no digging, no fuss. You just get faster compost thanks to better airflow. Gardeners who tried this method often found that materials that usually took about 90 days to compost fully, like banana peels, coffee grounds, and grass clippings, were ready in just 30 days. Even tougher stuff, like corn husks, or paper shredded with cardboard, softened and darkened quickly once that lower airflow layer was set up. Okay, so start by clearing the ground of weeds and leveling the spot where you'll build your compost pile. This method really works best directly on soil, not on concrete, because you want worms and microbes from the ground to join in. The very first step is to lay down a 4-inch layer of chunky, dry materials. These can be small sticks, dried sunflower stalks, broken corn cobs, or coarse wood chips. You should avoid treated wood or anything oily. The goal here is to create gaps, not density, so stack them loosely. On top of this, add your green and brown materials in alternating layers as usual. One layer of greens like kitchen scraps or fresh grass clippings, followed by a layer of browns like shredded leaves, paper, or straw. Try to maintain a roughly 2-to-1 ratio of browns to greens. Once you've built up a pile about 3 feet high, water it until it's as damp as a wrung-out sponge. The hidden layer at the bottom will help regulate this moisture automatically. Excess water drains through it, while evaporating gases from below get replaced by fresh air. This same principle can be used even in small compost bins or barrels. For those with tumblers, just add a layer of chunky woody carbon at the bottom or mix it evenly throughout to mimic the same aeration effect. If composting indoors or in smaller containers, coarse cocoa husk or rough-cut straw can serve as the hidden layer to prevent anaerobic pockets. Traditional compost advice often focuses on frequent turning or the use of nitrogen boosters to speed things up. But what most people don't realize is that decomposition slows primarily because of oxygen restriction, not lack of nitrogen. Turning only temporarily fixes the problem. After a few days the pile compacts again, trapping gases and stalling microbes. The hidden layer solves this permanently. It creates a passive airflow system that continually feeds oxygen without disturbing the pile. It's the same concept farmers used in ancient China and Japan when layering straw at the base of their compost mounds. Even without thermometers or aerators, their piles stayed hot and active all season. Modern composters who replicate this find they rarely need to turn their piles, and when they do, the material is already half finished. Adding synthetic activators or chemical boosters may appear to speed decomposition, but they can disrupt microbial balance and reduce humus quality. The base layer method achieves the same speed naturally by stimulating microbial metabolism through aeration. The result is compost that's not just fast but also richer in structure, texture, and microbial diversity. It's pretty amazing how nature works, isn't it? For gardeners wanting to push the results, a thin sprinkle of mature compost or garden soil on top of the base layer before adding new material gives a microbial jumpstart. This helps colonize the lower layer immediately, allowing microbes to climb upward as the pile grows. You can also pour a diluted compost tea or molasses water mix, just 1 tablespoon per gallon, onto the layer before building your pile. This, primes it with instant microbial food, helping decomposition ignite faster. The combination of carbon-rich airflow, steady moisture balance, and microbial activation forms a self-sustaining compost environment. Once you build this layer once, it keeps working for months, even if you restart the pile in the same spot. Over time, the rough base material itself breaks down into dark, fibrous humus that's perfect for enriching heavy or depleted soils. The hidden compost layer isn't a gimmick, it's a restoration of something that natural composting systems have always done. In the forest, decomposing material never sits flat. It rests on fallen twigs, bark, and organic debris that let air move through from below. When gardeners mimic this natural structure, decomposition accelerates without extra labor or additives. If your compost has ever gone cold, soggy, or smelly, this is the missing link. Build the base, let air move, and watch how quickly waste transforms into black gold. If this method helped you uncover a faster, more natural way to compost, subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this video with your gardening friends. Together, we'll keep unlocking the hidden layers that nature has been teaching us all along.